Thank you, Pastor, for opening up this temple of God to all of God's children. And I bring you greetings from Washington Heights, and from the West Side, and from Hamilton Heights, and from Riverdale, and from Inwood. And everywhere you go, you hear the same message. The rent is too high. I'm not going to say that other word. I'm in a temple today. Leader Sampson. So, if you're Mexican and you're an immigrant and you live in East Harlem, the rent is too high. If you're facing the treachery of gentrification in Central Harlem, the rent is too high. If you're on the west side of Manhattan and you see rents go over $2,000 and be decontrolled, 300,000 units of that across, the rent is too high. If you go to northern Manhattan to Washington Heights and you speak to the Dominicans that just came here 4 decades ago, they say, you know, when we came here, the rent is cheaper, now it's too high. If you go to any place in the city, the artists in the Lower East Side that are making ends meet, the rent is too high. New York City has become unaffordable. Working class and poor working people can no longer afford to live in this city. The economic engine of this city is being pushed out. The city is being economically segregated into the rich, the have, and the have-nots. The rent is too high. So the clock is ticking. And time is about to run out on the 15th. And we don't want to do this on the 15th. At the precipice, with our backs to the wall. We want to do it before then. We want to do it this week when we go back to Albany tomorrow. We want to do it tomorrow. You know, and we had an early budget. We have an agreement on ethics reform. We have a conceptual agreement on property tax cap. This is rent time, right here and now. This is rent time to do tenant protection, extending rent regulations tomorrow. And what we mean by that is not simply an extender. That's not good enough. We lost 300,000 apartments with just a simple extender. We want to repeal vacancy decontrol. We want to change MCIs, major capital improvement. You know, when they fix your windows, the increase is for life, way beyond the time they capture the investment of the repair of the windows. We want to change that. We want to lower the vacancy allowance from 20 to 10%. We want to give you the Erstat law. Why should we have somebody up from the Canadian border determining the future of over 2.5 million New York City residents? The rent is too high. So we got to come together. As the congressman said, this is a golden moment. Sometimes you don't know when you're walking in a historical moment. You may not think so. You don't know the magic of the moment until it happens. So we have clergy here and elected officials and people from all walks of life. You know, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, immigrant, veterans, all affected because the rent is too high. So in this period of time, when we couldn't give New Yorkers an extension of the millionaire's tax, 70,000 New Yorkers that make over $1 million couldn't chip in to help us get over the hump. This is the time to do it. So I urge you all, we have a march this coming Saturday, the 11th, at noon, starting on 155th Street, right by Denny's house, and Broadway, going all the way up to Dykeman and Broadway. We got to continue to put the pressure on, to put the heat on. The rent is too high. New Yorkers are moving out of New York. Children and families can't afford to live here. Veterans are going to be out in the street. You know, people are being gentrified. The people with money are taking over Manhattan. We cannot have the tales of two cities, a poor city and a rich city. The rent is too high. The time is now. Let's do rent stabilization for all New Yorkers. Thank you.